Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to cover what we call fortress. So fortress is a system or tactic of trying to draw a game which you are losing in material. So if you're behind in material but you're going to try and draw it instead, right, which breaks the basic principle of chess that the one with material is going to win the game, but I'm gonna show you how to draw certain games, right? But before I proceed, I want to cover an important concept called opposition. Opposition is when the kings are facing each other in a file or in a rank separated by a single square, right? So if it is black to play, black is gonna lose opposition. That's what we say here, because now white is gonna have a free passage. If it is white to play, white is gonna lose an opposition, right? So it all depends on whose turn to play, right? So now we're going to have this concept in a game. We're going to apply it. So this game here, it is drawn or white is winning. It all depends on whose turn to play. Again, opposition. So if it is white to play, white can simply take opposition, because separated by a single square in the same file. Do you get that? So you can easily take opposition. So you can win this game. You see now, having a free passage for your pawn. So it's all about creating squares for your pawn to pass, right? Again, in this position, if it is black to play, black can draw, since black is gonna take an opposition, right? So this game draws. Let me show you quick how it goes. Check, comes here, protects the pawn, goes back, right? Comes here, you take the opposition again, check, comes here, just go back, right? If he comes here, take the opposition, check, goes back. Do you see the pattern now? Check, have to go back. So here white has an option of running away, but you're gonna take the pawn and draw, so he has to protect. So after protecting, it is a stalemate, since the king doesn't have any of the squares. Do you get that? So here it is very important and crucial to know what to do and for the opposition, so that you can draw this game, right? Another fortress here about drawing is this one. This one is drawn. This one, if you're playing with black, this pawn is drawn if the edge is pawn in the edge, right? So what you do, just only gonna play your king here. White cannot do anything. There's nothing that he can do. Let's say you're here, check, they come here, it is drawn. You don't need to know any theory. What you need to remember is to get in the corner, come out, get in the corner, come out. Don't go away. Even on this side as well, right? But the other squares from B to G, they only rely on opposition. But the one on the last file doesn't need opposition. So now I'm gonna show you another draw that you need to know. You see, if this pawn is going to crown in a dark square, at a dark square, and your opponent has a lighter bishop, the bishop on a light square, there's no way they can win the game. The same principle applies when there was no bishop. You just play around here. They cannot win. They can only win when they have a bishop on a dark square. Do you get that? That's one of the fortress. So you can try and put that in practice. Say check, I come here. What can I do? Even when I run away, still a stalemate. I cannot come here, I cannot take, so it doesn't work. But if there was a bishop on a dark square, it was gonna protect this square here. So now my king cannot come here, creating a free passage for my pawn to crown, right? So you need to pay attention if you have a bad bishop or a good bishop. That will help you in a middle game or even in an end game to know which bishop to exchange. So if you have a pawn here which is going to crown in a dark square, you will know that you'll need to keep a bishop on a dark square, not on the light square, unless you are forced by the situation, right? I'm gonna show you another fortress. Let's say the position is like this, right? This fortress, the one that I'm gonna show you now, is how to draw this game. playing as black, one will resign here. It's natural to resign because you probably think you are losing, but you are not really losing here. The key thing to do here is to have your king, or I mean say your rook on the 6th rank. By just playing this, you will draw the game. It's that simple. So what you need to do and cram is that the king must face the pawn, must be on the last rank. This is for simplicity, but it doesn't need to be on the last rank. But I just want to create something that you can easily remember. The king on the last rank, facing the pawn, the rook on the 6th rank. This is what we call the Philodor position, right? If you have this position and you're facing the pawn, you're gonna draw this game, right? So if you happen to push this pawn, since he cannot advance with the king, since we close the rank, if he pushes here, what we do, we go back with the rook. Why are we going back? Now we are going to check from the back, checking from the back. So if he tries to come now, maybe to checkmate you or something, now we're gonna check from the back. Check here. What is he gonna do? Comes here, okay, it's fine. Check here, comes here, check here. So there's nothing that he can really do, honestly. He can try everything, maybe comes here. After taking here now is what we know. This is opposition, right? So comes here, can just play the opposition the way you know it, right? Like this is gonna be opposition. Take your thingy. I don't know, it's quite tricky here, you see. So let's say even the opposition is still like this, I can still advise you not to complicate things for yourself. Face the king, your rook on the 6th rank. You're definitely gonna draw this position, I assure you, right? So no matter what you can really do here, I don't think I can easily just maintain this rank as much as I can. Maybe tries to push, still do whatever that I do. Even when he checks me, I can still come here, comes here, I maintain this, right? He will of course maybe check me. It doesn't really work, like honestly. If you maintain this position, you can try all possible alternatives, but I can't think of anything that will work for him here. So the idea is the 6th rank. After he pushes the pawn, don't forget to go back and check from the back. So if you go back and he comes here, check, there's nothing, honestly, right? So that is covered. This video is gonna be short and quick. I hope you follow up with me. Sorry about that. Let me just show you another position quick. Let's just say we have this here, something like this, probably a bishop here. Maybe I have a bishop here, right? Maybe I have a king here as well. Maybe he has a bishop here as well. So I'm gonna try and draw this position here, right? How am I gonna draw it? Like this. I'm gonna say check. He's forced to come here. So one here might think that I'm losing, right? But we're gonna apply that principle that we used. He has a bad bishop for this pawn here, right? So this pawn cannot crown easily here. So the best move here to make is to play here. So this thing is a pinned pawn. This pawn is pinned because it cannot move, right? So let's say he moves here. We're gonna take here. Now this position looks familiar. He has a bad bishop. He cannot crown here because the pawn is gonna crown in a dark square, and he has a bishop on a light square. So it won't work. Let me do the puzzle again for you if I can remember when. So we say check to exchange the rooks to simplify the game. He takes. So let's say I come here now. It is natural to take, right? But a double pawn is more like a single pawn. So this is more like a single pawn, and it's the same as this pawn on crown here. So you won't do anything, so it's gonna be a draw, right? So what I covered here was that if white has this pawn here, he won't win this game. It's gonna be a draw. You're just gonna maintain the corner and stuff, right? And if he has a pawn here, just in the middle of nowhere, it depends on whose turn to play, and it's all about opposition. So if it is black to play, black can have an opposition by coming here, right? So now he has an opposition. And if it is white to play, he can easily win this game by taking opposition, since it is black to play, and it's gonna create a free passage for the pawn, right? Can even play here. If he plays here, I still take the opposition again. Comes here, I create a free passage for my pawn. Do you get that? Awesome. But we also have what we call distant opposition, right? So distant opposition, it works in a sense, let me just say, I don't know how to put it for you. It's going to be a bit complicated. But the idea of opposition is that, remember we had one square, right? So distant opposition, it's all about being in the same color as your king and facing it. So that one won't always work, but it might work somewhere. But don't focus much on it. Just focus on the close opposition. What else did I cover? I covered the back bishop, and I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover for this video. Thank you for watching. Remember, fortress, throwing a game that is lost, and also opposition. Thank you for watching. I was a bit fast, but I hope you learned something. Enjoy your day.